Hello, I'm Dr. Ruthie, sexuality educator, relationship coach, and thanks to Funwares, I get to answer your questions on sex and relationships. So let's take a look at the newest one that I have received from an anonymous lady. I had a baby a few years ago and my sex life isn't the same. Is there anything I can do to have stronger orgasms or understand my body since it has changed? I know about Kegel exercises and I have orgasms, but I feel like they aren't as powerful or the same as they used to be. I felt I knew my body really well before having a child, and now I almost am afraid, and I don't know what to expect from myself in bed anymore. I also use a vibrator more often in masturbation and find that it takes me longer to orgasm. I feel like things are going backwards because I always read about how women's sex lives improve with age, but I feel mine was great, and now it's a mystery to what will work for me. Any suggestions or help is appreciated. I'm so glad that you wrote this in. And I don't know whether you know this or not, but the first thing I want to tell you is what you're describing to me is absolutely normal. Women hit their sexual peak later than men, and that sex gets better with age. At the same time as these things are true, we also see, or I also see at least, a lot of women who just aren't experiencing these positive benefits. And there's a lot of possible reasons for it. But I just wanted to let you know that in spite of what you've read, you're absolutely normal in what you're experiencing. But we can get you to a better, happier place. So don't worry about it. Let's talk about a few possible reasons in brief. And I want to encourage you to also reach out to any other moms that you know or online that you can talk about this with. If you have a mental health professional or other kind of spiritual or emotional guide that you can talk to. If you don't, drop me a line and I'll help find you somebody. And, reach out to folks in as well as your physician and your partner, whoever you are comfortable talking with and bringing into your team because you deserve support with this topic, absolutely. Not that you can't do it on your own, but why if you don't have to? And there's other people who love and care for you and can support you. So let's talk about a few different things. You mentioned Kegel exercises, and that's really important. That's strengthening the vaginal muscles and the pelvic floor muscles to keep the vagina stronger and more vibrant and better able to feel stimulation and grip around things. So that's excellent that you know about them, and I hope that you're doing a regular Kegel exercise routine, hopefully with a Kegel exerciser because it gives you a little resistance and stuff to focus on. And you said that you are having orgasms, so good. You haven't lost your orgasm. I'm glad to hear that. But they're not feeling the same or as powerful as they used to. So there's two big reasons that you might want to think about that could lead you to some inspiration on why. One of them is, especially if this was your first child, things are a lot different in your life and your relationship now in so many ways that I don't even have to explain because you already know that it's a lot different. After having a child, especially the first child, folks' relationship satisfaction goes down, and that includes a sexual component. But their life satisfaction tends to go up because of the child. And these aren't universal, but these are the statistics for the majority of folks. So it's not surprising to me that we see that folks have a lot of sexual concerns after they have children. Sometimes these sexual concerns don't go away if they aren't able to find a way or the inspiration to work on the problems and find solutions. So we have a kid in the picture now with a lot of different needs. We think of ourselves and our own identities different after we've had a baby. So now we're not just a woman and a lover and an employee or whatever kinds of identities we have, but we're also a mom. And taking on that mom identity can make us feel a lot different about a lot differently about our sexuality, and our partners can feel just as differently about us too, because we tend to not think of the word mom in a sexy sort of way. It seems to be a very asexual sort of role for a lot of women, not necessarily all. So that is something to think about. What does it mean to be a mom? How do you feel about being a mother? How does your partner feel about that? Especially when it comes to sex and intimacy. You have a lot more stress and strain on your time. You have a lot more things that you're fitting in. You're giving a lot of non-sexual affection and attention to another being. And so you're getting that affection need met in a non-sexual sense. Are you also looking and participating in sexualized attention sharing with your partner as much? Because we can kind of get sucked into the non-sexual attention with our baby, and that's perfectly fine to have that be a focus. But sometimes we find that it ends up replacing our sexual self and the sexual attention we like to give and receive. With our partners and with ourselves. So that is something that you can look at as well. Because for women, if we're not feeling sexy, if we're not thinking about fantasies, if we're not developing a sexual side of ourselves within these new roles, nothing is going to work to get us off as well. If we're stressed out and we're too tired and perhaps we're suffering from a little bit of depression or something that we need to talk to a professional about for treatment, these can all be issues as well. If you are taking any kinds of medications for depression or anxiety, especially that you might not have been taking before you got pregnant, I'm not telling you to quit. I am telling you to let your doctor know that you're not having the same experience, any kind of new prescription, I should say, and ask them if that medication might be a part of it, and if there's any things that we can do to alter our medical regime so that we can, spice things up and feel a little more sexual, because prescription and non-prescription drugs can have a really big impact. So consult with your pharmacist and doctor about that. But also there's changes in our bodies. There's changes in all the different kind of hormones and internal chemicals after we've had a baby. And there's changes in the shape of our vagina. And this is really, really real. And it definitely makes a difference. So let's talk a little bit more about what we can do with that. After your first birth, the inside of your vagina, the vagina is on the inside, of course, then it has a different kind of shape and feel, and the muscles respond differently. Lots of Kegel exercises can help that, and you're going to be doing, say 10 reps of 10, where you squeeze and hold for a few seconds and release, or you work your way up to that, and doing those kind of sets maybe 3 times a day, let's say, as the thing that you're working towards. And there's much longer, better descriptions of exercises, but just to kind of give you one of the standard recommendations for that. But the vagina is still different post-birth, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. It's not better and it's not worse. It's just different, which means that it's time to explore, and that can be really frightening. And that fear that you're having about not knowing your body and not knowing its responses can have this kind of cycle effect, or I'm afraid I don't know the responses. I have a negative experience related to my fear and not knowing, which makes me more afraid to not know, which makes the next experience more negative, and around we go. So, enlisting our partners and ourselves as a powerful team to re-explore and rediscover our bodies is what I suggest. And that means kind of tossing out the rules on what you liked before and starting from scratch. This is very fun research to do if we approach it in an upbeat, lighthearted way with the full confidence that is absolutely deserved in the situation, that we will find things that work well. It's just different than before, and we'll have an exciting time discovering that. Hopefully, you had an exciting time discovering what turned you on and worked for you before, so you get to have that excitement again and discover all sorts of new things and feelings. You may find that if you like insertion play, that you want to have larger items inside you than before, things that offer more pressure on the G-spot, and I've done several videos on G-spot stimulation, so go to the YouTube channel and check them out. You may find that you like more intense vibration, and that is perfectly fine too. You may find that if you don't have sensitive skin and you're not post-cancer treatment or anything like that, that a stimulator gel or cream works well for you to help enhance sensations. You might find that you like more or less lube and different kinds of it. So exploring these different kinds of sensations and feelings can be a fun game together to find out what's going to work. There are things that will work for you. They're different from before. If you find that you need more intense stimulation, there is nothing wrong with that. There's lots of women who've never had a baby that are like that, and lots of women who've had babies that are like that. And that's okay, because it's perfectly normal, and there's plenty of products and techniques and things out there for you with that. Using a vibrator more is not a problem. Look at vibrators that you can use with your partner comfortably and include that in your sex play. In fact, I think you're kind of ahead of the game with that. When things happen in our lives and our bodies that call us to think about what sex is differently, it makes our sex lives better. If we only think that sex is penis, vagina, intercourse, we're not going to have the kind of diverse sex life that's going to last us a lifetime. And we're not going to have the fun of exploring lots of different stuff too. So I actually think that, as frustrating and frightening as this time may be, you are at a wonderful open door for rediscovering your sexuality and for getting a very diversified sex life with toys and all different kinds of sex acts that you may not have included as much before, that are going to last you a lifetime and really put you ahead of the curve as far as other couples go if you do want to compare. I hope this helps you out. I'm Dr. Ruthie, and I will see you at the next video.